Welcome to I'll Marry You, a podcast with me, Olivia Coleman, full of tips and tricks from the UK wedding scene, interviews with industry experts, and a whole lot of oversharing. Oh, hi! Producer Drew is probably going to kill me for this because I'm recording this intro whilst walking the dog. So there's a lot of outside noise. Look at that sunset. Bloody glorious. Come on, Rock. I've just bunged on one of my mum's coats. You know when you're a kid, or even as an adult, quite obviously, and you're at home and it gets a bit chilly, so you just throw on whatever garment you can find in the wardrobe, in the coat cupboard. Like any shoe, even if it's not yours, even if it doesn't fit, any coat, like an old fleece from school days. That's what we do here on the farm. I hope you are all well. I hope you've had a wonderful week. I had the most gorgeous wedding yesterday, on a Monday. I can tell that producer Drew is going to kill me for the sound of the gravel beneath my feet. Apologies to you all. Yes, gorgeous wedding at Sandfried House, which is in Abergavenny, just on the outskirts of Abergavenny, which is a beautiful place anywho, as it stands. But the venue was unbelievable, gorgeous. And as I drove up the drive, I realised that the venue itself was once a different hotel, and it was where James and I went for one of our first little sexy little weekends away. Sexy little rendezvous. Then it closed down. The two incidences were not related. And so that was a fun little 360 moment. Anyway, the wedding was amazing, except quite funny, actually. Well, actually, no. It wasn't funny because we were 40 minutes delayed, and it was like the only time ever that I had to get back for a certain time because my mum had the girls and she had a meeting to get to. But they lost, last minute, they realised they'd lost the page boys' trousers, didn't they? So there was a real kerfuffle. And one of the event staff had to drive into the local town, which does not offer much, and try and find some trousers for the poor page boy. I mean, I get it, and I understand he's an important part of the team, but also, you know, he's 4, so sack it off, mate. Do you know what I mean? Keep to your timings. Sorry, couldn't make it happen on this occasion. Throw some confetti later. Maybe that's just me, maybe because I'm a harsh bitch. I don't know. But it was gorgeous, and the staff there were incredible. Very friendly, very accommodating. I've lost the dog. No, he's there. Very helpful. Really top-notch work, I must say. It was a gorgeous wedding. She's Greek and he's Italian, and they found me because I had done a friend of theirs wedding last year or the year before, and they loved the ceremony, and they were like, oh my god, you have to do ours. So I did theirs. I'd forgotten that what the Italians/Greeks are like, and they bloody love a round of applause, I tell you. And every time anyone entered the room, it was like, hey! And they would do all the sort of, you know, the Italian thing with their fingers, which will sound odd if you're not watching this on YouTube, but you're listening to it. Is that the moon? That's fantastic. And so that was really fun, and I'm really glad that I got to be a part of that again with the same sort of family and the same sort of crew. It was like a mafia wedding. They were all incredibly glamorous, wearing sunglasses outside. Gorgeous day. Oh, they had some Spanish guitarists playing during the drinks reception, which I'm a big fan of Spanish guitar. There's all sorts of cultures knocking about. So that was brill. Now, I'm treating you all this week and next week to another interview with an industry expert. And I did tell you, didn't I? I did warn you that we're not going to have that many more episodes left because I just don't have the time, man. So it is a slightly shorter season this season than we had planned. I'm now walking on sand. Is that preferable for your audio producer, Drew? And so we're doing another interview because we've stocked them up. These people keep coming at me wanting to be interviewed, and I'm not going to say no, am I? Easy content. So this is the gorgeous Lily Francis Bridal Boutique in Cambridgeshire, and we had such a hoot. But the visual, if you are watching it, the visual, the VT, I don't know, what do you say? The video of me, it doesn't work, and it was a real cock up on my part. And I was trying to be really professional and it just wouldn't work. I don't know what happened. Anyway, I did tell producer Drew that he could edit the cock up in. So he probably has done. In hindsight, I'm regretting giving him that permission. But yes, Lily Francis Bridal, part 1 of 2. Enjoy, and I'll see you all next week. So on today's episode of the I'll Marry You podcast, which is with me, Olivia Coleman, which is the most professionally run, perfectly executed podcast that there is in the world, on the World Wide Web, in the World Wide Web. We are joined by the beautiful Michelle from Lily Francis Bridal. Hello.
Hi, that was a lovely introduction.
Thank you. Lily Francis Bridal in Cambridgeshire. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Literally in the middle of a field. That's Cambridgeshire.
Oh, really? What, like in a shed?
Yeah. Well, actually, the shop actually is a converted grain barn. So yeah, literally, it's a shed, but it's a stunning building actually. Like like the exposed beams and stuff like that.
How gorge! How long have you been there, Michelle from Lily Francis Bridal?
So Lily Francis Bridal was my COVID baby. I wasn't allowed a real one, so I built a business instead. Yeah.
So it's not even been going that long.
No, 3.5 years. So I like to think I'm still new, but I'm not.
No, you are still new. I think that's quite new, really. Let's go back. What were you doing before? Where are you from? Who are you? Tell me everything. How's your mum? How's your upbringing? Who do we like? Who don't we like?
Oh, I mean, let's go back. Okay, so I knew I wanted to work in wedding and events literally since I was at school. So, like, it really frustrates me, like you hear people that say, I just fell into weddings. I really didn't just fall into weddings. Like, that was always the plan. Like, literally from, choosing your GCSEs, A-levels, university, jobs, everything has always been within, like, hospitality, events, catering, weddings. So, yeah, this is me, really. This is all I know.
Was there like a wedding that you went to as a kid and you were like, oh my God, or was there like a movie? We're the same age, so you probably watched, Did you watch My Best Friend's Wedding and you were like, that's what I want?
Yeah, there was that. There was 27 Dresses. Do you remember that one as well? I really loved that one.
The
there
best.
was just quite...
The best.
Yeah, I think it was based around like a lot of films, I guess, as well, because I didn't really go to many weddings as a kid. I wasn't invited, which I did take personally, but children at weddings is another story, sure. Right? So
you were watching all these movies and you just thought that is a bit of me. And literally
yeah.
with J-Lo.
Did you have
and
those
I found
J-Lo
these scrapbooks?
Yeah. Had your mum kept them? Were they?
I kept them. I keep everything. I've got my you speak about GCSEs. I've got my GCSEs workbooks. I literally keep everything. But I found them and I was obsessed with them. Do you remember when you used to scrapbook like your folders at school as well, and like sellotape over because you didn't have laminators?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yours was just J-Lo everywhere.
Yeah, it was just J-Lo. I just was obsessed with J-Lo, Jenny from the block. So when you when you left school then, did you go to university? Did you train in weddings, in hospitality?
I did hospitality management, yeah. Yeah, I did, yeah. And then I moved to Miami and worked in Miami as well in like a country club.
What?
So
that
a very rich
stories.
Yeah, I'd worked in a very rich country club, very affluent. Yeah, I served Sir Alan Sugar, like that was where his country club, that's where his house was. So I saw some weddings and some parties there. Yeah. There's a lot of money in there, I can tell you.
That is so cool. Were you there when Kim and Chloe took Miami?
No, I think I was a bit before that because I'm a little bit old now. Like it was, how old was I when I was there? 22, I think. So I remember being over 21 because I was thinking, oh God, thankfully I can drink. So yeah, it was 22.
That's so random. How did you end up in Miami from Cambridgeshire?
I just worked. Like I just worked out there. I was like, I'm going to move, get a job and work. Yeah. I wanted to work there. That's where I wanted to live. So yeah, and then I came back for love. So I blame him.
Oh, was he from Miami or is he from England?
No, we literally went to school together. Like, yeah, he is from where I lived. And we got talking like just before I moved out there. And he came out to see me. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to go back home And then that was it. And we were engaged 3 months later. So
No. Oh my
yeah,
God,
it's
I
very
love
quick. It was
that.
a very
So
quick
you were,
turnaround.
well, yeah, he had to grab you before you jetted off back to Miami and
Yeah.
like
Mm.
to the thong song and whatever. And so you got engaged quite
Yeah.
young. Did you get married quite young as well?
I was 23 when we engaged, and 25 when we got married.
So first of all, let's just give me just the brief stats on your own wedding
Okay.
day. I just want to know like the
Yeah.
brief, like the lowdown.
Okay, yeah. Which bit do you want to know?
Everything. Well, I just like that, where, how many, wedding cake, wedding dress, band, did you get married in a
Okay.
church or did you have a boring Karen do a civil ceremony?
So obviously the dress was the most important, and I literally, obviously, because I pulled out the scrapbooks from 10 years prior, it's like I knew exactly what I wanted. I found what I wanted in a magazine, and I then had to find the shop. I rang around all these shops, like, do you have this dress? Do you have this dress? And then I found one about an hour and a half away, put it on. I was like, yeah, this is it, thanks. Done. That was my dress.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
So you didn't even like really shop around?
No, I knew exactly what I wanted. Liv had been shopping around for 10, 15 years before that, my scrapbooks. Like, I mean, like...
Yeah, that's true. You were scrapbooking your way from boutique to boutique, weren't you, your dog?
Yeah, exactly. I knew what I wanted. So, yeah, that was the dress. And I loved it.
And what was your dress like?
Yeah.
What was it like?
It was lace. It was like a high neck and then backless. And it was fitted. And it was all lace. So yeah, it was. I loved it, and I still love it to this day. Yeah, I love it. And I'm still like in that sort of think. Oh, I'm really optimistic that my daughter's going to want it, but the reality is she's not, is she?
Well, she might, or she might take a part of it. Like she could shorten it and wear it as her evening dress.
That's true. Yeah, she could do. Yeah. Do you still have your wedding dress?
Yes, I do. And now, darling, you mustn't judge me, but I've never had it cleaned. In 7 years, it still has the mud on it. I know.
Have you looked at it?
Yeah, I wear it every year. I put it on every year just for funsies.
And it still fits you? That's incredible. Mine does not.
First of all, rude. Second of all...
I'm impressed. I'm impressed that you've had 2 children and you're still gonna still fits you. It's amazing. Mine does not fit me.
I know, but you know what it is, right? So this is a lovely little segue. You can tell that you also do podcasting. You're much better than I am. Because the reason that you say that is because your dress was fitted. Mine was you'll tell me what cut it's called. It was strapless, silk taffeta, and it was it went down over the bust, and then I had a belt of some description, and then it just flew out like proper princess style. Nice. And the reason I chose that was because I, at the time, suffered terribly with IBS. That's too much information, but I don't care. I had terrible bloat, and I was trying on these fitted gowns, and my mum was like, Liv, if you wake up on the morning of your wedding and you have bloat, you are, and I was conscious of my weight anyway. She was like, you're not going to want to wear it. Whereas if you buy a dress that shows off your slimmest part, which is my waist and my shoulders, and then hides the tummy, it doesn't matter. And so I still fit into it now because I don't have to worry about fitting my giant gunt into a slim fitting wedding dress.
But that's exactly the reason why that style is the most popular style. And I do that like in fittings. I'm like, so you're going to eat all day, you're going to drink all day. Are you still going to be comfortable in this dress? Because if you're not, like, that's not the dress you want to be looking at. Because we're looking at pictures for years, right? So that's the reason why it's the most popular style.
I didn't know it was the most popular style. That's interesting. I would have thought that a slim fit was. No, you don't call it slim fit. That's jeans.
No. Yeah, like a fit and flare or a fishtail or whatever. Yeah, you're right. No, A-line is the most popular by a long way as well, actually. Yeah. I would say probably in the shop about 80% is A-line. Yeah.
If I want to go back to your own wedding, but I always say now that if I have any regrets about my wedding day, and the answer to this question changes depending on the mood I'm in and how much of an arsehole my husband's been that day. But generally speaking, the only I love my dress. Like, I'm still obsessed with it. It had pockets, for heaven's sake.
Sure.
But I would have worn
Amazing.
sleeves. I regret not having sleeves.
Really?
Mm,
Why?
mm. Because I've got bingo wings.
Well, you had them on your wedding day. Did you feel like that on your wedding day though? That like, oh God, I've not got my arms
Yeah,
covered.
a little bit. I was conscious. I don't know why. I just always wanted straps. I was conscious of my arms. And now looking back, my favourite photos, I had a fur coat because it was October, I had a fur coat that I
Cute.
wore over it outside. And those are my favourite photos. But you can get detachable things. There's so many things you can do these days, Michelle.
Yeah.
Tell us all about it.
Yeah, I detach everything. I'm like, we can make this detachable, we can make that detachable. Yeah. I'm like, what do you want? We'll make it. Yeah, everything is now. Like, and actually it's really good because people, like, it's really a trend now, isn't it? Especially like with the mini dresses and things like that as well. People want to have a change of look. And so, if you've got an overskirt and straps that are detachable, everything that could even just come off, like for the evening, yeah, people love it now, actually.
Is that quite a new thing? Yeah, I got married 7 years ago, and maybe it was just the boutique that I went to. I only went to 3 or 4 to try on dresses, but I don't remember seeing anything that was detachable. Because like you say, now it's
No.
sleeves, it's trains, it's everything, and I don't remember seeing that.
Yeah. No, actually, as well, you saying you had pockets. How long did you go? Was it 7 years ago you got married?
Yeah.
Yeah, so pockets actually that was a fairly new thing then. Like, it's a really big trend now, but back then it wasn't even really a massive thing, I don't think. So you started the trend. That's what we'll go with.
I'm
Like,
incredibly
you're the trendsetter.
influential in the fashion world, as I am in the wedding world, Michelle. Thank you for noticing that. So let's take
I
it back
believe
then
it.
to your own
Yeah.
wedding day. Tell me more. Where did you get married? What was the
Yeah.
vibe? Was it big? Was it small?
I mean, we did the traditional thing. We were married just over 11 years ago. And I mean, guess back then, you know what it was like. It was standard package, 80 people, 3-course dinner, chicken roast all the time. Like, that is but that is sort of how it was. So we, the venue, we didn't really have much of a choice, hugely, because we had to keep it near his grandparents, because they wouldn't have travelled. It was quite important, obviously, to have them there.
Oh, you're nice. That wouldn't have bothered me.
I mean, yeah, I don't know if I would still do it now, actually, yeah. But I also got my own way in other things, though.
Good.
Like, I was really adamant that I wanted. So we did it at like a local hotel, but I was really adamant we wanted 2 different rooms, like for the ceremony and for the reception. So we chose to have a later ceremony, actually. So it was 4:00 was our ceremony, because I hate that bit of waiting around as well, especially like we got married in March, that gap in the middle where everyone's like, oh, what should we do?
What, the drinks reception bit or the bit before the ceremony?
Yeah, that, and then there's like, photos and all of that. I was like, if we leave it too much of a gap, where they have to turn the tape, usually because they turn the room, right? Like, to make it from ceremony to reception. Yeah. So yeah, I made sure the venue had 2 rooms that we could use. So one for the ceremony and one for the reception. So we didn't have to have that big gap either. And it's all that stress of, starting to get ready at 7:00 in the morning. It was just all too much. So I was like, we'll get married at 4. But I also, again, this is just you can tell I had years of just looking at weddings, right? So my ceremony, I was adamant I wanted the ceremony room to be dark and all white, and it was candlelit. So we had like white chair covers, white drapes, all the curtains were shut, and just like some candles down the aisle, white aisle, everything was white roses, and then like a few uplighters around the edge, like to give it a soft glow.
Oh my God, I love this.
So yeah, that was our ceremony.
And also, I'm pretty sure this is because you are of an age where you watched the Twilight Wedding. And I
think I was before that, wasn't I?
I don't know. But I love that. That is very different.
Yeah.
I've never in all my days had anyone be like, shut those curtains. Obviously I've done evening ceremonies, but I've never had anyone shut the curtains. I think they were losing the plot, if I'm honest.
And then we had wall curtains all around, because it was all white. The whole room was white roses and white chairs. Everything was white. And then just candles. Yeah, but then like what I really wanted then, you see, like my reception was the complete opposite. So when you go into like the reception downstairs, we had all like huge floral centerpieces of color. We had like colored drapes everywhere. Like it was just a contrast of the two rooms.
You're talking about me being a trendsetter with pockets in my dress, babes. You had drapes before drapes were a thing. You had drapes before drapes were
I
popular.
love Joe's.
Oh,
Yeah.
drapey flower, they'll call you. That's very forward thinking. I like that.
Yeah,
Although
so,
I do have a vision of your guests. Like, you know, when you wake up hungover and your eyes adjust to the light, I just can imagine all these guests coming out of this cavernous hole of a ceremony, and then they're like, "Whoa, what is this light?"
yeah, that was pretty much how it went. Yeah.
That is so cool.
Yeah,
I love
that was our wedding. Yeah, so yeah, I just made it. That was like what was important actually. The style, decor and stuff was really important to me. So yeah, that was our wedding. That was it really. And then, it was a traditional 3-course meal, which
classic. So when you got married, you weren't working in the wedding industry. You still obviously had your scrapbook background and you'd done your training in hospitality management. What were you doing for work?
Yeah. I was working at a local hotel in event. What was I? The event manager, I think, something like that. Yeah, at another hotel. Yeah.
Oh, so you weren't were you doing weddings there as well?
Yeah. I was. Yeah,
so you were in weddings.
So I was. Yeah.
So how long?
I've always been in weddings. It's just what I know.
You've always been in bloody weddings. This you know a lot more than I do. I suddenly feel very inadequate.
I don't know. I don't know. So I've worked in some dives as well, trust me.
Have you? Have you got any stories? Have you got any stories about really rough? I don't want this posh nonsense. I've heard posh stories. I want some rough ones.
I don't know if I've got any rough stories about the weddings. It's just like, to be honest, it's mostly money, isn't it? Doesn't it always come down to the budget all the time, really? I mean, there was one wedding which the guests were just took everything. Like the plates, the cutlery. Like at the end of the evening, we were like, where is all of the glasses? Like they were just taking stuff and they were in and out of the hotel. Yeah. But yeah, that was early on in my career, let's call it, where I was still 23, I think 24. So I was obviously like shit scared to say anything as well. I wasn't going to go up to some big burly bloke and be like, stop taking my glasses.
Put down the knife, sir. Yeah, and also the butter knife while you're at it.
Oh my God, at that point, I was this petite, like size 8. Like, please don't do that.
That is so weird. I mean, generally speaking, when I say rough wedding, I mean like fights or I don't know. I'm not going to carry on that sentence actually because I offend a lot of people on my podcast. But I've not
seen any fights at weddings though. I don't think. Have you?
Yeah. Oh yeah, loads. No, not loads. I worked at a venue for 5 or 6 years, and to be honest, it's a vibe. And actually, you say about the budget, I wouldn't totally agree. Because I think sometimes in terms of behaviour, the bigger the budget, for want of a better phrase, posher the people, the worse behaved they can be.
They're a bit more they feel a bit more entitled, don't they?
Yeah, they do. And sometimes I won't go into details, but I've had a ceremony before where I went to the reception and it was in a place that is owned by the UK. It's like a national trustee heritage. It's a pretty impressive wedding venue, and he was moving like historic royal paintings off the walls because he didn't like them because he was pissed. And it's like, okay, come on, put down your corduroy trousers, calm yourself, and let's just meet at the Cheltenham races. So
don't weddings like bring out the worst in people sometimes?
Oh my God, yeah, the worst and the best in the planning and the day itself, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
You knew all about the weddings and you were in the biz, but you were more hospitality, which is actually a really good place to start, because that's, I think, the hardest part of
Mm.
all of it. So you were doing that up until lockdown, up until COVID?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I was at, well, a different venue. Yeah, I was doing that up until COVID, and then I was furloughed for the full 16 months, I think it was in the end.
How
Yeah,
dreamy.
which was dreamy, right? Because the kids were back in nursery, and I'm there like, okay,
Oh my God, I bet you were
I
pissed
can get
every
used to this.
day.
I was definitely sunbathing in that garden, I can tell you, having a nice afternoon nap. Like, there was a lot going on.
Oh, what a dream. So what made you
Yeah, I had the
suddenly
best
think,
lockdown.
I bet you did. What made you suddenly think, okay, I'm going to get out of I mean, 18 months of furlough will make you question your life choices. But what made you think, I'm going to get out of the hospitality sector of it, and I'm going to open my own wedding dress boutique? I mean, that's quite a leap, isn't it, babe? Like, that's pretty brave, I'd say. And that's quite
Yeah,
impressive.
brave or stupid, I don't know. There's
Both.
sort of, it's a fine line, isn't there, sometimes, this stuff. Yeah. um well, I've always wanted the shop, and I've literally been talking about the shop for, I don't know, like years. And I guess what's always stopped me was financial, because obviously it's a massive outlay, right? You've got to buy all the stock as well. Like, that's what people don't think about. Like, it's buying all that stock in the shop.
Yeah.
And obviously we had 2 young kids at the time. And it was kind of like, well, I don't know if I really probably had the balls to use our like life savings to open the shop. And then I think I always made a bit of an excuse, like, well, I don't, have the time to, and I'm a planner as well. Like, I wanted to do the full business plan before I opened.
Yeah.
I didn't have the time to research and contact suppliers and all of that stuff. And then I was furloughed, and literally my husband was like, right, well, now you've got time, so just do it. So yeah, so I did my business plan, which got sent off to like a few people that we kind of knew who had been in business a long time and stuff. I was like, what do you think? And they were all like, yeah, this is perfectly feasible. And then my husband was like, right, now you just got to bloody do it. I was like,
Oh my
gosh,
God, I
oh
love that. I love your husband. That's
yeah, yeah.
well, I mean, I suppose you do hear a lot of stories, a lot of COVID stories of people like completely changing direction in their career, or divorcing,
Yeah.
either one or both.
I mean, both were feasible at the time, to be honest.
Oh my God, I know. Every day, babe, every day. You and I have been married to men a long time. I say men because if we were married to women, our lives would be a lot easier. And we've got 2 young children, so we know what it takes to maintain a marriage. So
Yeah.
was the first, where you are now, was in the building in the field, in the converted barn in the field. Is that where you were straight away? Did you go straight into that premises?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I did. Yeah. And actually, I struggled to find one that I liked. I had really liked one, but the landlord wouldn't let me have it because he said that because I've got no experience in business and I had no like credit history as a business and
What?
stuff. I was
What's
like, well, no,
that to
because I'm just
him?
opening. Yeah, he was like, and I was like, you know what? This isn't going to work for us. So yeah, that, and then, but as I say, things happen, don't they, for a reason. And now, yeah, like I'm in a really lovely place, and like I say, the guy that owns it's amazing. So yeah, I'm left to my own devices, and I've been there for 3.5 years now. Yeah.
So talk me through. I'm interested now because I've decided that I want to do it because I think you're cool.
Okay.
I want to be like you. I want to be like Michelle. So do you have to research? I mean, business plan, right? So you have to do the obvious. You have to do all the market research, all your competitors, all of that kind of jazz.
Sure.
What are the specific differences between a general I'm going to start a business, open a shop business plan, and a wedding dress boutique? Because you say about the outlay, I see now that surprises me, because I would have thought obviously you've got to buy the dresses, but you're just buying one dress.
Yeah.
It's not like you're opening a shop where you have to buy 10 different sizes and 10 different items, right?
Sure. That is true. However, I guess to open, what I think when I opened, I didn't have that many. I had maybe 40 or 50 maybe dresses. But you're thinking these dresses are each costing quite a few £100 each dress.
Yeah, that's a lot. 40 or 50 to start is a lot.
Yeah. So you have all that, and then you've got like obviously to kit out the shop and stuff like that. So I think I did throw quite a bit of money into it.
I bet.
Early doors. But yeah, it was, I guess for me, the hardest thing was choosing my designers who I wanted in the shop. And also,
Mm.
actually, the other thing about designers that not many people know is that a lot of designers have like a minimum quantity. So you've got to buy so many from every designer every year. And
Oh,
they discontinue dresses as well. So you can have a dress and a sample in the shop, and then 6 months later you get an email saying we're not selling in that one anymore. You're like, great, I've just got a dress to sat here that I can't sell, like
that's so
resell.
stressful that they
So
are allowed to do that. I had no
yeah,
idea that they would do that.
yeah, yeah. Obviously, if it sells well, they don't. But
So how did
yeah.
you
So
each
there
go
is
about
it's
choosing
quite a
your
lot.
suppliers? About your designers? Like, were you like, okay, we'll just do British, or we'll just do bespoke, or we'll just do this, or that? How on earth did you even begin to find the designers you wanted to feature?
I guess to start with, it was very much about price point. Um, because I don't do. How often do you hear people come in saying, "I don't have a budget"? I'm like, yes, you do. Everyone has a budget, right? Like,
Yeah,
but I get that a
when
lot.
I went to my first
Um,
dress trying on session, I've
yeah.
told the story before. I was incredibly hungover. I thought I was going to vomit down the white dress. And she was like, "What's your budget?" And I was like, "Maximum £5,000." And my best friend laughed and was like, "Behave." I was like, "I know, obviously not, but I want to try on the most expensive dresses."
Mm, yeah, that's the worst thing you can do. Did she tell you that to you as well?
No, because she thought because I sound posh, she thought I had money. Rookie.
Yeah, it's the worst thing. I ask everyone, I'm like, what is your, like, tell me your budget. Because actually, the truth is, right, if you come in and said to me, like, or you're like that, for example, your budget is 5,000, I would put you in a £5,000 dress and you would love it. And then you're stuck, right? You either then have to say no to the dress or spend £5,000.
That
So
is a
that's
real
why I'd be
head
like,
scratcher, Michelle.
yeah. Yeah, so I very much, and it's a sneaky tactic that so many shops use as well. Like, so many shops, if you go in and say your budget is 1,500, whatever, they'll put you in a dress that's more than that because they know you'll love it. Because
Yeah, of
that's just how
course.
it works, right?
Am I right
So
in thinking
sneaky
that
tactic.
your dresses now, I was looking on your website the other day, your dresses are all under a certain amount, right? Has that always been the way?
Yeah. And that was kind of when I first opened where I wanted to sit. I think, like, say you like look at people like local competitors and people in the area, and I was like, I want to find my place in there somewhere. So
Yeah.
all of mine are under 1,500. Actually, that
That's
is
incredible.
like that's the top end. Yeah, and that's made to order, so that's like a new dress. Yeah, under that
Because
price.
that, as
So
ridiculous as it
yeah,
sounds, that's I don't know the polite word for cheap, inexpensive. That's for a wedding dress. That is like,
affordable.
yeah, nice. That is a
Yeah.
for a wedding dress. Because am I right? When I tried on wedding
Mm.
dresses, the average cost was £2,000. What is it now? Do you know?
Yeah, it actually is about the same. I did look at a report the other day. It's about that still, but you see now people are brides are much more about sustainability, so they are buying like off the peg dresses as opposed to like made to order. That's quite a popular thing now as well. So, and off the peg dresses do tend to be a little bit cheaper. But that obviously has helped the environment and things like that as well. So yeah, I think the average is still about the same.
Right. In the essence of continuity, I'm still walking the dog. Where is the dog? Rocky! Rocky youngster. Wait, you talk to animals and children strangely, don't you? Why can't I just go, Rocky, you're right. Rocky! No idea. So this week's RSVP is a DM from Stevie. Stevie with an IE. Is that a woman? Who bloody knows? And actually, the reason I picked this one out just mere moments ago is because it's animal related. And I thought, since I'm walking the dog, not a euphemism, physically walking the family dog, I would share this with you. So Stevie writes, "Hi Olivia, really enjoy your podcast. We're getting married next year and we're having a debate at the moment about whether or not to bring our little dog. Little King Charles Spaniel, very well behaved. I want him to be ring bearer. My partner does not. What are your thoughts?" Rocky, close your ears. I don't. love animals at weddings, much like I don't love children at weddings, but I do appreciate that if you both have animals and or children that you love, then it would make total sense for them to be a part of your day. I think as long as you do it sensibly, and also double check the rules of the venue, because when I used to work at a venue, our rules were that you were allowed your pets for the ceremony and the drinks reception, but they had to go when you sat down for dinner. And it had to be a blanket rule, because when people say, can I bring my pet? Or even if they're more specific and say, can I bring my dog? You don't know whether that's going to be a Chihuahua or a bloody Alsatian, do you? You don't know if that bugger's going to hide in a purse or you're going to need a throne. So you do have to check with the venue the rules on that. I do also think that it does make for a fun photo. So Rocky, who I can't show you because he's walked off, is a staffy. We love you, Rock. And I just really liked the idea on my wedding day of having a photograph of me looking all glamorous and chic in a white ball gown, essentially, holding a staffy, who most people think's a bit rough. And you are a bit rough, aren't you, babe? Just like me. So I think if you can incorporate the pet in some way or other, then you absolutely should. But also bear in mind that you need to speak to the venue, and are they going to enjoy it like a child? Are they going to have a good time, or are they just going to be stressed with that many people around? Think about it. I hope that helps. I've nearly got to the end of my dog walk. It was a brief one because it's getting to supper time. All right then, speak to you later. Thank you so much for listening. It really does mean the world. If you find this podcast even remotely helpful or moderately entertaining, share with all your friends and family. You can DM me any questions, queries, if you want to share any stories on the podcast Instagram at I'll Marry You Podcast. Get in touch. I want to hear all your tall tales. See you soon.
I'll Marry You is a podcast by Olivia Coleman. The music is Mr. Sunnyface by Wayne Jones, and the show is produced and edited by Drew Toynbee.